Before we start, I just saw the post that you posted on your Instagram recently.
What was that?
I think he's a judge that just passed on. I saw your picture.
Okay, yeah, Justice Caribbean White, my mentor, father, who just died.
Okay, my deepest condolences. May his soul rest in peace.
Amen, amen. Thanks very much.
All right, so it's a culture here. I know who you are. I know what you do. I know who you've been before. I know when you were born. I know a lot about you. But for the benefit of our viewers tonight, I would want you to introduce yourself, what you want to be known best for. Who is Rotimi Chibuike Amaechi?
My name is Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi.
Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi, yes.
Yes, I just want that to be corrected.
Yes.
Who am I? My name is Chibuike Amaechi. I work for the Federal Republic of Nigeria as the Minister for Transportation. I was one time the Speaker of the River State House of Assembly, and one time the Governor of the River State of Nigeria.
Okay, I met you first when you were Governor of River State, and I would say then I would count the gray hairs on your head. But now with the latest pictures I see, I count the black hair on your head. What is going on?
pressure of work, pressure of work, pressure of politics, pressure to ensure that there are things you have to achieve for the purpose of the growth and development of the country. So that's putting quite a lot of pressure. But I'm 55, so I'm growing old. As Speaker, I was 34, don't forget. As Governor, I became a governor at the age of 42. I was still relatively very young. Now I'm 55. I became a minister at the age of 50. So,
yes, we are counting down to your birthday. You are also a May baby like me, I remember. So what's happening this year for your birthday under these quarantine conditions?
I'll just be in my house praying. I just think that this is time to commune with God and reconcile yourself with God, that's all.
So how's it been like, the transition from being a governor to a whole minister? How's it been like for you? Which one is more challenging?
Well, they're both challenging. It depends on the context you're talking about. Here, you are dealing with transportation as it impacts on the entire country. And the focus currently in this government is railways. So we are constructing railways. We've completed the Abuja-Kaduna Railway. We've almost nearly completed the Lagos-Ibadan Railway. We will, between the next 1 to 2 months, commence the Ibadan to Kano, or Kano to Kaduna, Kaduna to Abuja, Abuja to Abuja to Mina, Mina to Ilorin to Ibadan, and we'll complete that phase. We're also looking at the possibility of constructing the rail from Bonny, Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, and all that. So that's what's taking a lot of my time, and I'm focusing quite a lot on it.
Okay. And which countries in the West, in Europe, are you partnering with as the Federal Republic of Nigeria in terms of transportation?
We're dealing more with China. The reason why we're dealing with China is not just because they have the technology, it's also because they are also affording us the necessary loans that we need to be able to construct the railway.
Okay, so if any country wants to deal with you and they are prepared to give a loan, then you're open to deal with any.
We're open to any part of the world once they can fund the project. Currently, China has been extremely good to us in terms of transportation. They lent us $1 billion to construct and complete the Abuja-Kaduna rail. Lent us 1.6 billion for the Lagos to Ibadan. We're hoping that they will also lend us the $5.3 billion to complete the Ibadan to Kano rail. We think that before September we should have started, or before October we should have started the Kano-Kaduna leg of it.
Okay. All right, so I had a lot of questions for you from some people here in Germany, some I mean, Nigerians. But before we go into those questions politically and your position, before you became minister, as someone who was really rallying behind the current president, Muhammadu Buhari, we just want to know a little bit more about you. The name Rotimi is your Yoruba name, but you don't seem to have any Yoruba roots. What is the story behind the name?
Well, don't forget that you don't even know how you got your name Josey. Your parents decided to call you Josephine.
I know.
Your parents decided to call you Josephine. That's the dictatorship of the parents.
Yeah.
My children, I gave them the names they are bearing. That's the same way my father gave me the name I'm bearing. Maybe he adored the lawyer, Rotimi Williams, I guess so, and then named me after him, believing that I will be a lawyer in the near future. Unfortunately, I'm not yet a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about Nigeria. As a minister who is serving under President Muhammadu Buhari, what would you say is the state of the nation right now? What is your comment about what is happening in Nigeria generally?
Let me start and state clearly that I will not engage in politics. As the Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I am enjoying to focus on my assignment as a minister and not to be discussing politics. But if you want to talk about the country as it is, well, COVID, just like it is where you are, I'm sure you're not going out. I'm sure everybody's having a mask in one way or the other on his face. So if you ask what's going on in Nigeria now, we're all in our different homes, keeping close watch to our wives, and our wives watching us too closely to make sure that all husbands are at home, so you don't go and bring COVID from outside, and all wives are at home, and all kids are at home. If you must go out, you must wear your face mask. And we're hoping and watching what's going to happen to the economy. Nobody can predict, nobody can say what will happen to the economy until the full effect of COVID has impacted on the economy. But for now, it's not as easy as it used to be before. It's a bit challenging.
It's unfortunate I'm interviewing you at the wrong time because you just say COVID-19. But if we are to talk about Nigeria before COVID-19, what is your opinion? What can you say about the state of Nigeria before COVID-19? Are you happy?
Of course I'm happy. I again will tell you for the last time that I will not engage in political discussions. But let me mention this to you, that I usually tell my friends that when we took over, it was extremely challenging. I don't think we had the resources to achieve the objectives we wanted to achieve. By the time we came in, the resources were very challenging. No, I don't think Nigerians should forget that. I know that as far as Nigerians are concerned, the government has the responsibility of putting food on the table of Nigerians, and any government that does not achieve that objective, they don't want to know what you're doing. But they must not forget that at the time we came, oil price got to down to $28 before it started rising. And since we became a government, oil price has not exceeded 70. But before we came, oil price was at, there was a time oil price was at 115, 110, 115. And I'm not going to do a critique of the last government because I can tell you what my friends say. We're tired of hearing those criticisms. Focus on your own achievement. And we're focusing on that. We're doing roads, we're doing power, we're doing water, we're doing light. That's power. Then we're doing transportation. There's improvement in maritime sector. There's an improvement in roads. There's also an improvement in the aviation sector because the airport terminals have been completed. There's safety in the airport section. The aviation sector. And then there is railway development. It's when President Buhari would have left government, that's when people appreciate his contributions to government.
So would you say you made the right decision by backing President Buhari?
I have no regrets.
You have no regrets. And okay, the fight between you and the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, lasted for about 2 years. What is your relationship like with him now?
I will be forced to speak German to you. Because I told you to avoid politics and focus.
I can't because
you have to.
Let me tell you the reason why I can't. I know that you are one of very, 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 very important people when it comes to Nigerian politics. And you are one of the people that actually made President Buhari sit on that chair today. So unfortunately, I cannot avoid that question.
Don't attribute to me the qualities of God. God put Buhari on that seat, not me.
God had to use Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi to make sure that President Buhari sits on that chair.
No, and God used everybody, including President Buhari. First, he has to even make himself available to run before you can talk about using him. Secondly, is that everybody contributed in one way or the other to ensure that the president became the president of Nigeria. And so all of us will be held responsible if he fails. And I'm assuring you that he will not fail. He's focusing on the issue of the development of the country. If you ask about the relationship between myself and the former president, it's cordial. I visited him some few months ago, about 1 or 2 months ago, I visited his house. It's cordial. Whatever disagreements we had when he was in power were purely political disagreements. And he is my leader. Don't forget he's from the South. Don't forget that as the Minister of Transportation, I've just announced that the President has approved that we name one of the biggest stations after him. One of the biggest railway stations. If we didn't consider it important, we would not have named it after him. We would have named it after any other person.
And it's not all about optics?
No. What optics is that? I could name the place Chibuike Amaechi's railway station and nothing will happen. What optics is that? What am I achieving with that?
But do you think the current
what is the president achieving with that?
Do you really think the current government is meeting the expectations of Nigerians, of the people, the citizens, ordinary citizens?
You have to tell us who the ordinary citizen is.
The who?
You have to tell us who the ordinary citizen is.
Nigerians.
Yeah, but that's Nigerians who are close to me tell me that we are.
They are close to. They are close to the Lion of River State. I mean, of course, they'll say they are. They can never tell you the truth. But let's just talk about those Nigerians that can't even close to you.
No.
That don't have access to you like I do. I'm not Nigerian, but other Nigerians that can't even have access to you. Do you think the government is meeting their expectations?
Josey, don't forget that I know you too well. Don't forget that I know that you were part of the last government in Nigeria. So you may have your own views.
I'm not part of any government. I am not part of any government. I'm just Josey, a journalist doing my job.
That's what you will say now. But
if I interview the president, the former president, I'll still ask him of the mistakes he made. If I interview President Buhari, I will still also ask him the same question. But today, you are the accessible one for me. So, and I know very well how influential you are in that present government.
Just don't forget that I know you very well. And I know that you've been in Nigeria for a very long time. Don't forget that you work with me. So I know you. And I know that it's not just only me you know. Now, you can never, at any point in time, satisfy every Nigerian. Don't forget that. What's important is the greater good for the greater majority.
And you've kept all your campaign promises?
Is that possible? Is there any government on earth that can keep to all their campaign promises? What's important is that the crucial ones are kept, and the ones that will put food on the table of the poor.
So how far are you, percentage, out of 100% with your campaign promises?
I beg your pardon?
Looking at your campaign promises, what percentage can we rate how far you've gone? 50%?
I'm not in a position. I'm not in a position to rate it now until we conclude, until we finish. We have to leave government for us to make that conclusion.
Okay, I was going to ask you about the electricity situation in Nigeria. I know you're just going to tell me again that you're not the Minister of Energy.
No, at least there's an improvement in electricity. In fact, you cannot. Let me tell you what we've just done in the area of transportation. We are putting gantries in most of the construction. putting gantries because we believe that power is improving. So we'll soon change the current locomotives from just being diesel-powered locomotives to electricity-powered locomotives. That's why we are putting gantries as we're constructing.
Okay. You know, I'll commend you. I know that you think that I'm just being hot-headed, but I'll commend you with all the work that you did in River State. Yeah,
I've left River State a long time. Let's talk about the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I'm going into my next question, but I had to say that before I go into my next question. My next question is the idea behind the Transportation University in Nigeria. What was the inspiration behind that?
I want to lay claim to that. Let me tell you why I want to lay claim to that. When I got into the Ministry of Transportation, I realized that what these experts have done, or what they usually do, is to dump technology on us. And there's a need to transfer those technologies to Nigerians. So first, you can't transfer the technology to empty heads. You have to train the people. So if you're going to do that, then you must build for us a university. It's not built by the Nigerian government. It's going to be built by the Chinese company. Now, the company will build, hire lecturers, teach for 5 to 6 years, and transfer to Nigerian lecturers. In that case, you are developing the technology.
Okay. And then
that's inspiration.
Okay.
To make sure it happens, over 150 Nigerians are in China now being trained in railway technology. And they will come back and teach.
And they are safe?
Oh, very safe. None has caught COVID. And don't forget, they didn't do badly with COVID in China.
And how far is the project now?
Which of them?
The Transport University. They
were planning to commence construction when COVID started. They are started moving equipment before the COVID started.
Okay.
So now a lot of constructions, as it affects Ministry of Transport, has slowed down.
Okay. And the railway project you completed has been regarded as the highest point in your administration. What are the other projects besides the university that you intend to accomplish?
I just told you here now that we intend to complete the railway from Kano to Kaduna up to Ibadan, to make sure we have that Lagos-Kano railway completed. I also told you here that we will complete, we hope to award as soon as possible, the rail from Bonny to Maiduguri, which is the eastern flank. The moment you complete Lagos to Ibadan, Lagos to Kano, complete Bonny or Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, and complete Lagos to Calabar, you've covered Nigeria. There will be remaining some few states that will be done later. So
your ministry does not involve aviation, right?
No. There's a Ministry of Aviation. Last year, last term, yes. Last term, Ministry of Aviation was under the Ministry of Transportation.
Okay, and then some few days ago, I follow you closely. You were confident you didn't join politics to solve Nigeria.
Let me make your followers laugh. I hope you're not stalking me.
I'm not. I'm doing my job. You said you didn't join politics to solve Nigeria's problems. Unemployment drove you into politics. Is that true?
You know, that statement was misunderstood. But you know me very well, Josey, that I don't really care. But I was misunderstood. What I meant by that statement was that wasn't the initial motivation. If anybody told that was my initial motivation, it would be just to be joking. Because I didn't even know I would get up to being a governor or being a speaker. What I was trying to convey in that message was that I was unemployed. And so politics became the source of livelihood at that time. Because you went to meetings, became a kind of job you needed to do. You got employed then by Dr. Peter Odile and all that. But now they just say, the way the impression they're trying to create is that, oh, I just joined politics just to chop. Let me borrow Nigerian English, chop. I just joined politics to either be corrupt or not to contribute to the growth of Nigeria. No, I believe if you read the history of Nigeria by Richard Bond, you will see my name. My name could have been in that history book if I didn't make contributions. In River State, you can't talk about River State politics and exclude me. If nothing else, you will meet primary schools that we built, you meet the health centers that we built, you will see the roads we constructed, the power project that we did, a lot. farms that have been abandoned. We created employment for people. We put smiles on the face of people. So when people interpret that, if you know me very well, I won't give a damn. I actually don't give a damn about how they interpret it. For me, I'm convinced that what I meant by that statement was that at the time I joined politics, after I left university, I was unemployed. So that became the source of employment. That's what I meant. But that does not mean that if I see the realities facing Nigeria, the challenges facing Nigeria, that I want to solve them. Of course, I have. You just said here about the contributions I made among others, in making sure that this government came to power. The reason for it wasn't because of just President Buhari alone. The major reason for it was to make sure that we changed the direction Nigeria was heading us at that time. We need to create employment for Nigerians. We need to deal with the issue of corruption. We need to deal with the issue of development. So anybody who reads it in that way, what I would say to the person is, I wish you luck. And you know me too well. As a friend, that I won't bother myself. I will sleep very well at night, not bother myself about what the person thinks.
Okay, and let's talk about security issues in Nigeria. That is one thing that, even as I am working for an international broadcaster, we report on so much. I mean, the security situation in Nigeria right now is terrible. And it looks like
that's your conclusion. That's your conclusion. You don't live in Nigeria, you live in Germany, so you wouldn't know. When you are living in Nigeria, you would be in a position to assess it. But the truth about security or insecurity, whichever one you like to give it to, you like to call it, is about poverty. Those who are poor will not allow the rich to sleep. Because in most countries, not just Nigeria, in most countries, the rich deny the poor the right to live. So if you deny them the right to live, you also not live. That's what you see, and that's what happens. So you must address inequality. As the gap increases, that's how crime increases, and it's not just Nigeria; it's global.
But one of your campaign promises, if I remember very well, was to tackle the Boko Haram. How far have you gone with that?
Josey, I know what you will say now when I ask you this question. You will say you're a journalist. Now, Josey, be honest. Is the Boko Haram situation the same with what it was before we came?
Yes.
Then you're wrong. Let me tell you why you're wrong. And then Abuja was under attack. You couldn't drive freely in Abuja. As a governor, I hardly went out. Don't forget, because I was scared that my vehicle could be attacked. Now I could drive around Abuja. The police was under attack. They attacked the headquarters of the Nigerian police. They attacked the United Nations building. They attacked this community close to Abuja. That we said the president then was dancing in Kano when they were attacking Abuja. They were attacking Gombe. They attacked Kano. But be honest now, they left Borno.
So what have you done to stop all this? What is the strategy used?
I'm not the chief of army staff. Neither am I the IG of police or the president of Nigeria. Only they will know the strategy. Only they will know the strategy that they employed to achieve this. The only thing I can tell you about is what I have seen. And what I have seen is that, if nothing else, they've been restricted closely to just the Sambisa forest. To a great extent, Borno or Maiduguri is a bit safer than it used to be before. But what I'm telling you was that under the past government, they were heading towards the south. Don't forget, I was governor. I know how many of them were arrested in Port Harcourt and we sent to Abuja.
But recently, there's also been security issues in River State.
I have no comments to make about River State. I always tell people there has to be a difference between.
That's your home. Is it not your home? That's your home.
No. If I continue to talk about River State, you won't know the difference between me and the person who is there.
As your home, not as past governor. Your relative. There
has to be a difference between me and those people there.
Okay, and so what is your dream for 2023?
My dream? I have to sleep first and to wake up and tell you if I had a dream or not.
No, you've been sleeping. You've been sleeping every day. What is your focus for 2023?
It's too early. Extremely too early. If you're a politician, you know that it's too early. If you're a politician and you're a man of God, you know it's too early. You can never tell what God will do. You certainly can never tell what God
is. It about God or the people of Nigeria? Will they want you back in that office?
Eh?
Will the people of Nigeria want you back in that office, from the President Buhari to everybody under his administration?
Back to which office? Minister for Transportation.
For you, Minister of Transportation, for the President as President, for the Vice President, President Oshibajo, and everybody else under that administration.
No, the President's tenure will expire in 2023. How would they want him back? Constitutionally, he can't run again.
The President, yes, and you?
I'm not running for any office. Am I? You know, at the time I said I'm not a politician, I'm actually not a typical Nigerian politician. I'm not.
You are dodging my questions. Hiding behind your not. You just told me that that statement you made about unemployment, it was misunderstood. So you are a politician. So answer me as a politician.
I don't know what you mean by as a politician. If a politician is somebody who is in a public office, then I'm a politician. But I didn't contest to be a minister. I was appointed by the president, so I'm not a politician. If politicians are those who contest elections, then I didn't contest election to be a minister of the Federal Republic. I was appointed by the grace of God and that of the president.
So as Chibuike,
but I've even answered you that it's a bit too early to talk about 2023. That's the answer.
Okay, so if it's too early, then when can we check with you? When will you have something focus on 2023?
No, it's not about me. If we're going to talk about politics, then say that the right time to talk about politics will be 2022.
But when you say it's not about you, I am talking to you today, and this interview is all about you. The president's saying.
Then I have no idea about 2023 if it's all about me. But if it's about Nigerian politics, the safest time to talk about Nigerian politics will be 2023.
Okay. So to all the Nigerians who keep saying that you are the one that brought the problems to them by backing President Buhari, what do you have to say to them today?
How can it be in Germany? I know what Nigerians are saying here.
Because
have you asked the young man in Sokoto, or the young man in Kaduna, or the young man in Rivers, or the young man or woman in Kogi? Why do you assume that there's a problem? Because
you're on
Twitter. In Germany. I know you left Nigeria in 2015.
You are on Twitter. You are on social media. I posted the flyer that I'm going to be talking to you, and these are some of the comments. Amaechi is the one, they call you Hechi. Hechi is the one that brought us problems into this country by backing, I won't say the right words, but they were referring to the president.
Say the right words, say the right words.
That is backing the dead men walking, and some say that they're backing Jubril or whatever. He is the one that has brought problems for us. So my question today is, what do you want to tell these people that believe that you've brought problems for them by backing President Buhari into office?
First is that you're from Zimbabwe, Josey. Have you seen anywhere in the world? Have you seen anywhere in the world where one man can make somebody president?
Do you remember that I was in Nigeria during the campaign time?
You were in Nigeria. I'm not saying you're not in Nigeria. I said you left Nigeria about 2015 or 2016. But it was
and you are the person that was holding the broom. Usually before he comes to give the speech, APC, I can't remember, holding that broom. And you were one of the people that was at the forefront giving campaign promises. So for people to say this... I
like what you said. You're one of the people. I always want you to say that all of us came together.
I'm not
You said I'm one of the people. You said I'm one of the people. Meaning that all of us Nigerians came together to support President Buhari. You may be talking to the wrong people. You may be talking to people who lost power. Then they will tell you, oh, Amaechi is one of those who supported President Buhari. If you talk to the right people, have you spoken to my wife and see whether she's not happy? Have you spoken to my son?
How can your wife be unhappy? A whole wife of the Minister of Transportation of Nigeria. How can she not be happy?
Okay, what about my friends?
You're the wrong person to ask. If I am to ask, I would go to some village in I don't know, deep in Nigeria, then to ask about Amaechi, not your wife.
What about my friends? What about those who
I recently interviewed someone who really speaks ill of the administration. He actually is called Buhari Tormentor. And he did, of course, when it comes to work, he did mention and commented that you are one of the ministers who's really working hard. But that doesn't change the fact that you are backing a man who is silent, who won't address the nation, who seemed to be dead when he's alive.
You know, there are different characteristics that make up a human being. You could be loquacious, or you could be silent or quiet. The president is not one of those who just talks. If there is a need to address the country, he will address the country. If there is a need not to address the country, he will not address the country. Why is that a problem? Why is that a problem? And I've told you here that the street who uses the train from Kaduna to Abuja will tell you a different story. How happy he is that he's able to spend less money to travel from Kaduna to Abuja by train.
That's train. That's train.
Okay.
What about?
Why I'm focusing on the train is because that's my area of specialization in the ministry. What about roads? The man from Port Harcourt to Enugu who drives on the new road built by President Buhari will tell you that he's happy about the road. The man in Lagos who wants to drive to Ibadan and knows that that road was abandoned before we came, he's happy with President Buhari because he's able to take a drive. So it depends on who you are asking. Josey, I couldn't tell you this, that as a politician, I'm aware that, was it the late Attorney General who said, come chop politicians? When the food is not on their table, then they will criticize. But when the food gets to their table, oh, you're such a wonderful man. That's why. That's what he also meant by saying, how can the wife of the Minister of Transportation complain? So to complain is dependent on how close you are. In fact, let me tell you what somebody defined, some of Nigerian critics, I won't say all Nigerian critics, there are those who are honest in criticizing the government. But somebody defined it that the volume of criticism by Nigerian critics is dependent on how close they are to government. The further away they are, the louder they will shout. The closer they are, you won't hear them. That's what you hear. So,
do you know why? Okay, what about the audio that leaked when you were complaining about President Buhari? Was that you or it was a cooked voice?
I didn't hear you.
There was an audio that leaked when you were complaining.
It was not about somebody I wanted to blackmail me, asked me to give him 5 million naira. I told the idiot to get away. I'm not the person.
So it was fake?
Fake. It was doctored.
All right. Your Excellency, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming to the show, and thank you so much for giving us time to listen to you today. Though, of course, you've dodged a lot of my questions. But
Please tell me what I dodged, so I can give you the answer again. Which one did I dodge?
Are you happy with the way President Buhari is running the country?
So. I say so. And I told you that again. Those who complain, I told you that. I gave a lot of time to that question.
But what can you tell us that he has done? You spoke about your railway. That's you, Minister of Transportation.
No. Then just you were not listening. I spoke about railways. I spoke about roads. I spoke about the aviation. I said, have you come to Nigeria recently? Have you gone to the airport in Abuja? Have you gone to the airport in Port Harcourt? Have you gone to the airport in Kano and the new airport they're completing in Lagos? That's aviation.
During your campaign time, you also promised for Air Nigeria or Nigeria Airline.
No, we didn't promise. It's as we got into government that we tried to do Air Nigeria. Don't say we promised about it. But that's not even an issue. If the Minister of Aviation wants to do the Air Nigeria, he will do it. It's not the issue. Most important is that a lot of things we promise people, we are focusing on them and we're trying to address them. And that's how you say I could dodge. I didn't dodge that question. I addressed it appropriately.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. And I want to say a happy birthday in advance.
Please send me a gift, Josey. Just send me a gift. Maybe a gift of a car.
I will do
Okay, I read the Code of Conduct, Bureau, Code of Conduct and Tribunal Act. Nigerian public officers are not supposed to receive gifts, so please don't send. because you will go to jail. I will go to jail, not you.
No, we'll see. I'll send the gift belated after COVID-19.
Oh, okay. No problem.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Keep up the
You're
good
welcome.
work that you say you're doing. Keep up the good work.
I like what you say, that I said I'm doing, not that you know that I'm doing, which means you're far away in Germany.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Take care of yourself, Josey.